When Amber Heard faced the world, she blamed a smear campaign. Now Blake Lively is doing the exact same thing, and the internet isn't buying it. Back then, Amber claimed it wasn't her lies, her contradictions, or her courtroom collapse that turned the public against her. It was bots. It was misinformation. It was TikTok. She lost the trial and then tried to rewrite the story in every interview that followed. Today, Blake Lively is playing from the same script, calling her critics untraceable, accusing journalists, YouTubers, and anonymous accounts of joining some shadowy smear campaign against her. But this time, the world isn't falling for it. Because this isn't 2022. The internet is smarter now, louder, bolder, and it remembers. The moment those subpoenas dropped, targeting creators, small channels, even random users, the tide shifted. Suddenly, Blake wasn't the victim. She was the aggressor. And now, just like Amber, every move she makes is backfiring in real time. Amber Heard didn't just lose a defamation trial. She lost the public. And in the days that followed, her defense wasn't about evidence. It was about optics. She claimed the jury was manipulated, that the internet was brainwashed, that she was destroyed not by facts, but by bots, misogyny, and a coordinated smear campaign. She took her story to every major outlet: NBC, The Today Show, Dateline, crying, pleading, trying to convince the world that social media had silenced the truth. But what Amber never understood was that people weren't manipulated. They were watching. They saw the contradictions, the courtroom clips, the side-by-side breakdowns on TikTok. The viral memes weren't hate. They were reactions. And now, Blake Lively is walking that same path. Her words, almost identical. She's calling it a smear campaign. She's blaming unlawful online content. She's claiming there's an untraceable network of haters working to ruin her reputation. Not because of what she's done, but because she dared to speak out. But here's the difference. Amber's moment came at a time when the internet was still learning how to respond to celebrity narratives. In 2022, the world was waking up to the power of online commentary. Now, in 2025, the internet is wide awake. And when Blake started pointing fingers at anonymous creators, instead of owning the controversy surrounding her own project, the backlash hit faster than she could spin it. It's not just similar, it's textbook. Blame the backlash. Call it coordinated. Paint yourself as the victim. Then use the courts not to seek justice, but to silence the crowd. Amber tried it. Blake's trying it. And the internet? It's seen this playbook before, and it's not buying it. On July 1st, 2025, Blake Lively's legal team pulled the trigger, and the subpoenas started flying. It wasn't just a few influencers or big media names. It was a legal carpet bomb. Content creators, journalists, Twitter users, TikTokers with 2 followers. No one was too big or too small. Candace Owens, Perez Hilton, Andy Signore, even mothers in Kansas with private accounts and unpaid blogs. Dozens of creators, all served, all accused, all dragged into Blake Lively's war with the internet. What was she demanding? Private emails, DMS financial statements, IP logs, phone numbers, real names, bank activity, all because they talked about her movie, all because they shared court documents or criticized her performance, all because they dared to say, "This doesn't look right." The internet exploded. Why is a billionaire's wife targeting small creators? Why does someone so powerful feel so threatened by people with a voice? And that's when the story shifted. What started as a film controversy suddenly became something darker. A celebrity using the full weight of the federal court system to silence commentary, erase criticism, and intimidate people with legal muscle most of them couldn't afford to fight. It wasn't about justice anymore. It was about control. People weren't even sure what the lawsuit was about. There were no named defendants, no clear accusations, just pages and pages of demands, and the chilling message underneath, "Talk about me, and I'll come after you." Creators went public, screenshots surfaced, subpoenas leaked, legal intimidation turned into trending hashtags. And Blake's image? It didn't just crack, it shattered. Because when a celebrity with a $200 million empire goes after stay-at-home moms and micro-journalists, it stops looking like defense and starts looking like vengeance. This isn't Blake Lively's first time using the courts like a weapon. Months before the subpoenas, her name surfaced in a different controversy: the Van Zandt case. It didn't grab headlines like this one, but the blueprint was the same. No named defendants, no criminal charges, just legal paperwork filed quietly with one purpose: gain access, private information, confidential records, communications, anything that could help her control the narrative behind the scenes. In that case, critics accused her team of manipulating the legal system to dig up dirt and pressure insiders. And now they're saying it's happening again, only this time at scale. Same playbook, different target. It's why creators are drawing comparisons to Amber Heard, not for drama, but for pattern. Blame the backlash. Frame yourself as the victim. Then weaponize subpoenas to scare people into silence. The court documents show it clearly. Dozens of creators hit at once. No due process, no warning, just blanket accusations of unlawful content and vague claims of conspiracy. Even when no laws were broken, even when most of the content came from public court filings. This isn't discovery, this is surveillance disguised as justice. And while Blake Lively may be famous for her red carpets and charm, what we're seeing now is something far more calculated. A slow, deliberate erosion of the line between celebrity and legal power. Amber did it in public interviews. Blake's doing it in courtroom shadows. And if the goal is to scare critics into silence, she's forgetting the most important rule of the internet. The moment you try to erase something is the moment everyone starts paying attention. Blake Lively may have expected silence. What she got was fire. Within days of the subpoenas going public, the backlash exploded. Creators who had never even mentioned her name started speaking up, not out of curiosity, but out of fear. Because suddenly, it wasn't just about "it ends with us." It was about the right to criticize, to comment, to exist online without a billionaire's legal team in your inbox. Wayfair's legal team pushed back first, hard. They called Blake's filings manufactured outrage and an attempt to twist criticism into conspiracy. Then, internal records leaked. The secret PR campaign Blake claimed was targeting her, it didn't exist. TAG, a digital advocacy group once flagged in her lawsuit, publicly removed AEO designations, exposing that there had never been a coordinated hate effort. There was no organized smear campaign, no criminal cabal of YouTubers, just thousands of people reacting, organically, to a tone-deaf rollout of a very serious film. Then came the memes. Me Blake, the Backfired, near Subpoena-gate clips of her calling the film a big, flowery summer movie next to scenes of domestic violence. Her after-party drink, named after a violent character. Her quotes, romanticizing abusers. Her marketing, more out of touch by the day. And as her legal team doubled down, the public turned faster. Court commentary turned comedic. Reaction videos hit millions of views. Even creators who had stayed neutral began calling it what it was, a PR meltdown disguised as legal action. And in court, Blake didn't get a win. She got scolded. Judges questioned the breadth of her subpoenas. Media outlets pulled out of partnerships, and her once pristine reputation began collapsing in real time. This wasn't a smear campaign. It was the truth, echoed, reposted, and multiplied by people who were done staying silent. While Blake Lively pleads victimhood, the real victims are being buried beneath headlines. Cassidy, Leanne, Ken, mothers, creators, survivors. Everyday people caught in the blast radius of a Hollywood star's legal tantrum. They weren't profiting off her downfall. They weren't hacking into secrets. They were commenting, sharing court filings, reacting to interviews, voicing their lived experiences. For that, they were subpoenaed, threatened, labeled conspirators, bank records, IP logs, social media activity, all demanded by a woman with unimaginable wealth, reach, and legal firepower. And Blake never apologized. Not once. Not to the survivor whose trauma she trivialized with a cocktail. Not to the creator whose job she jeopardized. Not to the voices she tried to erase. Instead, she just kept filing. Her image is in shambles. Her case? Crumbling. Her comparisons to Amber Heard? Now impossible to ignore. Because just like Amber, the more she talks, the worse it gets. But here's what neither of them seem to understand. You can't sue your way out of accountability. You can't weaponize the court against your critics and expect sympathy. You can't cry smear campaign when all people are doing is replaying your own words. You can't spin truth into defamation just because the story didn't go your way. The internet has changed, and no matter how powerful you are, no matter how many lawyers you hire, you don't get to silence the truth. Not anymore.